Atomic Monsoon.
Welcome to the Monsoon.
Welcome back to Atomic Monsoon, everybody.
Happy May!
Oh, it is May.
It is May.
It is
May the 4th be with you. That was
May the
yesterday, technically, when this airs. And
Yeah.
tomorrow, while we're recording.
Yeah, because time travel's weird.
We're in the end game now.
Oh, no.
So when we record this, tomorrow is May the 4th. When this airs, yesterday was May the 4th. So technically today is Revenge of the 5th.
Oh, boy. Listen, we're
It is.
recording this on Friday, May 3rd. You do the math as to when you're hearing this.
The Attack of the Third?
Ooh.
A third hope. No.
We'll work on it.
Yeah, we'll come up with a bunch of numbers.
The Third Menace? No. that's
Speaking of endgames, Ends game?
Endgame.
Endgames. So, Stephanie, last week you and I went over all the Marvel Cinematic Universe stuff.
We did.
In preparation for Avengers Endgame.
We did.
Right. And it's now Friday, so Endgame has been out for a week.
Yep.
And it is at $1.78 billion worldwide in box office numbers.
I'm sorry, I think I have something in my ear. Did you just say billion?
Billion with a B.
Does it say when that total was counted? Because that probably doesn't have last night's numbers, which Thursday nights are huge.
This is boxofficemojo.com, so I'm reading
it's
this
mostly
live.
last week's
so
stuff.
it's probably as of yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah, so probably as of midnight last night, so the second. Listen, it's at least including May 1st.
Okay.
So
Okay.
we're looking at least less than a week. In less than a week,
Well, it should say on this website, it doesn't say what the date it counts up to?
I just have the worldwide.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the fifth highest grossing movie of all time already.
Oh, yeah.
It was at 28 on Monday.
Yeah, I'll be shocked if it doesn't make $5 billion. I honestly will be. I'll be
Holy crap.
surprised.
Yeah.
So this reminds. Go ahead, finish your
Oh yeah,
thought.
no, just the only movies it's behind are Avatar, Titanic, Star Wars: The Force Awakens, and Avengers: Infinity War, and it's probably going to beat Infinity War this weekend.
I would not
yeah.
be surprised if it does.
And if it doesn't beat Force Awakens, no offense, I know y'all are Star Wars fans.
Hey, look, I love me my Star Wars, but this movie, yeah, no, it is more than welcome to at least knock it down one spot.
Sure. I mean, it's not going to knock it down too, so
That's true.
That's not how math works.
That's true. So speaking of last week's episode, I was very good in not spoiling anything.
Stephanie, you were very good at not spoiling anything.
Yeah, it's a good thing I wasn't here, because if I'd have seen the movie and we were talking it, I probably wouldn't have been able to help myself.
Well, so here's the thing, though.
that's fair.
If you, Josh, did you listen to our episode last week that we
I did. And you guys did very well. I was impressed. Golf claps.
I will say that as I was watching Endgame, both of us mentioned a lot of things in the episode that ended up tying into Endgame.
Yep.
That did not spoil anything. It was just a kind of a nice reminder of like,
Because the
oh,
thing,
hey, this is part 22.
yeah, and the thing is, though, is that it wasn't, even though, yes, we talked about it, it's like, yeah, it's a spoiler, but it's also in that movie we were talking
Right,
about. So it's
right.
like, this isn't really a spoiler, but I'm sitting here on my hands going,
Yeah, if you were talking about anything that was like pre-Endgame,
Right.
Yeah.
it's not a spoiler. I'm
It's
sorry.
not, it's not our fault that Endgame called back to other movies.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So.
yeah. But yes, no,
Which
I was very
People
good.
should fully expect that. Like, if you're going to the last movie of a 20-film series, and you haven't seen one of those other 20 movies,
That's
Yeah.
your fault.
there's gonna be some spoilers there.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
just so you know.
Just saying.
At least a few.
So,
Yeah.
At least
but
a
yes,
few.
so I'm really happy that I did a good job.
Yes. Thank you for not spoiling the movie for me or our audience.
I mean, I just
Yay.
gotta say, when Batman came out, grabbed the Infinity Gauntlet, that was the craziest thing
Dude.
I've ever seen in
Dude,
my entire life.
yeah,
I was
know.
not
I
ready.
know, it just was insane.
I was not ready for,
Yep.
freaking Pikachu to do what he did in that film.
When you piss off Leonardo like that, what are you gonna do?
DiCaprio never saw it coming.
That one either,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Out there on his island.
hey, you leave Skellig Michael out of this, which is Luke's island. So I actually have a couple of things Disney-wise.
Is that the island that walks like a man? No, that was
remember there was
Krakoa.
the movie that Leonardo DiCaprio, the island,
Yeah,
where he was
no,
like,
I got it.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So two things Disney-wise. One is, well, actually, technically they're the same thing, but they're kind of, one leads into the other. So if
Sure.
you've ever been to Walt Disney World,
Yeah.
World or specifically World? Okay.
specifically World,
That's the one in Florida.
that's
yeah.
the one in Florida. Have you been to Epcot?
Once.
Once.
Probably.
No.
At least
No,
once.
no, I've never been to Florida.
Oh, you've never been to Florida?
No.
You've been to, okay. So,
They already have Florida Man in Florida, so they probably wouldn't accept Arizona Man in Florida, so I just don't go.
fair enough.
I think I was like 8.
Okay.
So it's been a while.
So everybody kind of knows that Disney usually toward the end of the night does some type of spectacular with fireworks and stuff
Oh, yeah, they
and
do
lights
stuff
and
in
everything.
Disneyland,
yeah,
too.
they do it at
Yeah.
Disneyland. In Epcot, they have a show called Illuminations, Reflections of Earth.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
I've heard about that.
And it's a fantastic show, really, really cool. I have seen it 3 times now, and it's a really fantastic show to watch. Well, for all of you Disney World lovers that are listening that haven't been to the parks in a while or haven't read the news, Illuminations is going away September 30th this year.
Oh.
Are they replacing it with something?
They are.
Okay.
That's the next thing. The next one is called. I wrote it down here somewhere.
Def M Records? Because you should go to defmrecords.com and support the group that did our theme music.
That was a nice tie-in.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks.
But no.
You know, if they changed it to an electric parade like they have in Disneyland, Def
Oh.
FM Records would be great music to play on the electric parade.
and now I
absolutely
have
true.
the Electric Light Parade stuck in my head. Thanks.
But what about
no.
Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem?
That's the best band ever.
That's true.
It is.
Yeah.
I believe it's called.
Well, the
so,
Archies, though.
No, they got nothing to Dr. Teeth.
Sugar Sugar actually hit number 1 on the pop charts. And the Archies is a
that's true.
fake band.
That's true.
Like, I love Dr. Teeth, but they haven't hit number 1 on the pop charts.
That's fair. That's
Okay.
fair.
So I believe the show is called Epcot Forever, which is it's pretty much kind of including the history of kind of what this park is and has become and everything like that.
Okay.
And including a few other things. I believe that's what it is. I'll have to double check and get an answer to you guys next week.
Okay.
But yeah, so Illuminations is going bye-bye. We're getting a whole new show, and it sounds like there's going to be drones and stuff involved in it. So
Okay.
Disney's upping up their evening shows, and so that's all I
Alright.
got. Oh, also,
I don't know how I feel about Disney being in control of drones.
I mean, they're in control of everything else,
it's
so.
true. Also, on a bit of a, we don't normally do the sad notes on here, but
Oh,
in a bit of
Oh,
a sadder
yeah.
note, we yesterday, May the 2nd, we lost a very friendly Wookiee by the name of Peter Mayhew. That was a good impression.
Thank you. Thank you.
So we miss
Yeah.
you, Peter, and hope you and Carrie and are doing well.
May the Force be with you always.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
So let's get on to
Okay.
our topic of the day.
On that
So-
sad note,
Yeah,
that was
so-
almost a sadder Wookiee noise than the holiday special noise. Like, almost sadder.
That's the saddest noise, just the holiday special in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, so our topic for the day is games on phones.
No, no.
No?
No.
No.
What?
No,
I think you misheard us.
yeah.
Why? What did
No,
you-
I mentioned Jason Momoa.
Yeah.
There's no cell phone games with Jason Momoa.
There
Not
should
that I
be.
know of.
Is there not an
There
Aquaman
should
game?
be.
I don't think so.
Huh.
There might be.
Okay.
But no, we're talking Game of Thrones, man.
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones. That makes far more sense than games on phones. Why would you phrase it games on phones? Okay. Well,
Remember when we were talking about this, there was a lot of other like background noise, and it was kind of like yeah.
listen, production meetings get crazy.
It's true.
Okay. Well, I haven't seen any Game of Thrones, just those first couple episodes, so I can't.
Well, then I guess we
can't-
should spoil you like tell you like the audience, and spoilers are coming.
It's May, Josh.
Spoilers are coming.
I'm just gonna go.
I can tell you, we're in Arizona,
wait,
and
what?
it has snowed in Arizona at the very last day of May more than once.
Okay.
So winter can still come.
Huh. That's
That's
frighteningly
interesting.
early or really late. I'm not sure which.
We should be afraid no matter what.
Yeah.
But wait, Andy, you said you were gonna go. Go where?
I'm gonna go home and play video games, so I don't.
Are you prepping for ZapCon?
I am. I'm gonna go be at ZapCon all weekend. Actually.
Oh well,
Yeah.
All right.
go get your thumbs warmed up then.
That's not okay. I'm gonna
Well,
go play with my thumbs.
Well, what whatever you do to whatever you need to use for playing the games this weekend at ZapCon.
I'm just gonna do a lot of finger push-ups.
There you go.
It'll be great.
There
Are
Okay.
you
you
gonna
go.
wear fingerless gloves though?
Maybe.
You should.
Well, they'd keep my hands warmer.
Sweatbands and fingerless gloves.
Always wearing sweatbands.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But
Yeah.
only one though.
Well,
That's band, not bands.
sometimes I wear two.
I'm sure
you don't know.
I've seen him
Fair
more
enough,
too.
fair enough. I haven't paid that much close attention
That's-
to your sweatbands.
That's totally fair.
That was an interesting sentence.
They're cheaper and less permanent than tattoos.
It's true.
And if I
It's
ever
very
decide
true.
that I don't like a thing anymore, I can just throw the sweatband away. If I don't like a thing that I had tattooed on me, I'm stuck with it.
Yeah,
So I choose sweatbands.
Fair enough.
that's fair.
I'm gonna go put all my sweatbands on right now.
That's why I put my tattoos on
Okay.
my back, so I don't have to look at them if I stop liking them.
Fair enough.
Yeah, he's not. Yeah, okay.
All right. Well, you guys have fun talking about games and big chairs and
Yeah.
dragon mommies and stuff. And I'm gonna go play video games and eat cookies.
It's my
All right,
favorite
well,
show
well,
about
then-
dragon mommies.
It's true. Well, we'll see you next week,
Yeah, have a
Andy.
good one, Andy.
Okay,
Enjoy
cool.
Zapcom.
Hey, wait! Before I go, let me tell you something.
What?
Yeah.
Bustin' makes me feel good. Next week.
Ghostbusters next week.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
so, Josh, we haven't done an episode before together.
No, this
So
will be
just the
fun.
two
Though.
of
A
us.
little bit of geeking out on some Game of Thrones here. Mm-hmm. All right, so obviously, big topic is the fact that this is the last season of Game of Thrones. We just had the Battle of Winterfell.
So spoilers are definitely
yeah.
ahead, like he said. That
So,
was not
folks,
just a joke.
Again, this isn't the end of the season or series kind of thing, but this was probably one of the biggest episodes in television history, and so we kind of felt like,
yeah.
hey, let's talk some Game of Thrones. Like we could just sit here and talk the whole series a little bit, a little bit about the books, a little bit about the TV show. So if you are worried about spoilers from either of those, television show or from the books, please be aware that there could possibly be spoilers in this conversation.
Yep.
There will be spoilers if you haven't seen anything yet or read anything yet. There will be spoilers. So
Yeah.
just be aware of that ahead of time. We're just trying to have a little good conversation here. So if you want to join us for some Game of Thrones discussion, kick back, hang out, and if you feel like there will be too many spoilers for you, come back next week. We understand.
Yeah, you have 7 seasons. You have 7 seasons to get through. Then come back.
Yeah. Go watch a lot of Game of Thrones and then come back and talk to us. That's what we need to do.
Yep.
But
So-
anyway, so Game of Thrones.
Yes.
How did you get into the series?
So when I don't know when exactly when okay well when did Game of Thrones officially start? Like when did the
The TV
series
show or
the TV
books?
show?
Okay, the TV show.
'Cause I know the
It's
books have been out for a while.
Yeah, it's been about 10 years now. It's been pretty close.
years? Oh,
yeah.
wow.
You
Okay.
figure like it wasn't a season every year.
No, yeah,
That,
no.
with their production schedule and stuff like that,
Yeah.
especially with the whole like we have to film in winter.
Yeah.
There was definitely production delays.
Yeah.
So I think and I've been wrong before, be wrong again. I think it's been about 10 years that the books or that the show's
okay.
been going on. Maybe a little bit less, but it's been
It's
pretty
getting close, yeah.
I mean, we know there was a couple year gaps in between a couple seasons, or at least a year gap between a couple seasons, and
Okay.
we're on season 7, so I think 10's kind of a safe word
Okay.
to bet. The books, however, have been around since before you were born, I think, or at least
that-
close to.
yeah.
And yeah, so
So yeah, okay.
the
So
show's ending. The books aren't yet.
So obviously, when the show started, if we're at saying that's about 10 years ago,
Yeah.
about 10 years ago, I was in high school, and so I wasn't. If I was watching HBO, it's when DirecTV was like, "Hey, get HBO for a month."
Okay, well, this is interesting. This is interesting. So then you started the show when you were around in high school. I read the first book.
Oh, so no, I didn't watch the show in high school.
Oh, okay.
I didn't even know it
okay.
existed in high school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
my bad. Okay.
Yeah, no. So if it started back then, I didn't know it existed, and even if I did know it existed, I only would get HBO every blue moon practically,
Yeah.
with DirecTV being like, "Hey, here's a month free of Stars and HBO."
Yeah.
Okay, it's gone. It's like, oh well, okay, fine.
Gee, thanks. Yeah.
Or it's like a weekend of it or whatever.
Yeah.
I actually didn't sit down and finally watch Game of Thrones until I want to say 2 or 3 months before season 6 happened.
Oh, wow. So you're a fairly recent convert then.
I am still fairly recent.
Yeah.
What had happened was my husband at the time, we were just still dating and everything. I think just engaged,
Yeah.
and he made the comment of, "Hey, have you ever watched Game of Thrones?"
Little
And I-
Ice and Fire and Chill. Let's see.
Yeah. and I'm like, no, but I had heard of it by that point. By that point, I had heard of
Yeah.
some of the big things, but I hadn't heard full spoilers. I
Yeah,
heard
it's kind of
there's-
hard to have not heard of Game of Thrones at this point.
Yeah, I know, right?
If you're living in the middle of, South America where there is no internet or electricity,
Maybe.
maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
You might not have heard about it, but Anywhere else? No. You've probably been slammed over the face with it a few times.
Yeah, no, so he mentioned it, and he was just kind of like, yeah, no, it's a good series. I'm like, I've heard it's good. Should we watch it? And he's like, yeah, we can sit down and watch it. He's already seen the whole series. He's already read the books.
Okay.
So we sat down, watched it. I'm like, yeah, this is okay. This is okay. We're on episode 6 in season 1. I was like, can we turn on episode 7? Because I was like ready to stop, and I was like, no.
Yeah, that's how they get you. The first couple, you're like, oh, okay, this is okay, I've enjoyed it, and then you're like season 3, and you're like, oh crap.
It's like, how did I get here?
Yeah. And for those of us that had to wait in between seasons, it was even worse because we would just watch those first seasons over and over and over again. The new one's coming. Oh, thank goodness.
Well, here we go. The last season.
Yeah, last season finally. Last season. So of the previous season, what so far has been your favorite storyline? Character thread. Just
okay.
What was the thing that grabbed you? I should say. Let's look at that. What grabbed you and made you really start like, I like this, or first character that got you invested in it?
So at the very beginning, the only actor that I recognized immediately is the obvious one, which is Sean.
Yeah, Sean Bean.
Sean Bean, because I've seen him, in several dozen different movies growing up.
Unless you watch a lot of BBC, most of the actors are very recognizable.
Exactly. So I was like, okay, I know him. That's all I know, but I know him. So I was like, okay, yeah, no, this is pretty good. I think what really kind of hooked me was it was some point in the middle of season 1. I think around the point of Robert Baratheon's death and Ned Stark's beheading. Okay. Around there is when I was like...
Right when stuff really starts to hit the fan.
Exactly. Right around that point is where I was like, I'm sorry, what? What just happened?
that's about the point where, other than the stuff that you were seeing beyond the wall, that's kind of where the action started. It went from a little bit less exposition in that first season to more action. Because you were still getting some stuff up beyond the wall and at the wall and stuff like that, but in the South there wasn't a whole lot going on. It was mostly just like, oh, so-and-so did this and so-and-so said this and other people did these other things. And
Yeah, it was like when Robert Baratheon died and then Ned Stark was beheaded, it was like, oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, okay, we got some character development. Now let's get going.
Now let's get going. Yeah, no, that's definitely the sparking point for me. What about you?
For me, I was hooked immediately. I started reading the books when they first came out because I've always been a big book reader. And one of those things is going through, looking for more books to read and decided in the library. And went, okay, I'll try this out. And then I've been slowly reading them as he trickles them out over the last, couple decades. But that was what got me. I really enjoyed the books. I'm a big fantasy fan, so that was what got me. For the TV show, I really like Jon Snow.
Jon Snow?
Yeah. In the books, I was,
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
Yeah, in the books, I kind of think Tyrion's my favorite in the books because I just his point of view chapters in the books are just so good. It's ridiculous. And Jon Snow was pretty close second along with Daenerys. Those, the main three I kind of feel like are really good, but it just... In the books, Tyrion's chapters are just so well written and so good. Sometimes it kind of feels like George R.R. Martin's put a little bit more effort into those than he has some of the other chapters. It feels like, but I can't really say that because he's a great author. I feel like he tends to write characters pretty well. And something I got to give him credit for is writing characters that generally would be more meek and powerless and showing them their character progression and their build up, their hero's journey and things like that. I think he's really good at that kind of stuff. So that was really, as soon as I started reading those books, I got into them. And then when I heard there was a show coming out, I was like, oh, that's awesome. And then immediately went, how are they going to do that? There's 3 books out. So, that was very confusing. Yeah. And now here we are, and where the show's about to end, and we still haven't gotten the next book, which we've been waiting years and years and years for. So, that's interesting. But hey, I can't complain because it'll be interesting. I kind of almost feel like he's just waiting now for the show to get done before he puts out the books.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't want people to be like, oh, that's not how it happened, or just that way the books will have their own thing and the TV show has its own light. And they kind of it's kind of what it feels like to me. But as far as the show though, man, I really enjoyed what they've done with Jon Snow, with his entire character development and just everything they've done with him beyond the wall and everything. And I got to give Harrington credit because he's perfect in that role.
Oh, he does a great job as Jon.
He does an absolutely amazing job. He sells that role. He invests you in that character. There's a few actors in the show that really did that for their characters. I feel like they've really turned characters that you could be indifferent towards and really specifically Brienne of Tarth. In the books, I was completely indifferent to her.
Yes.
I really, you know what I mean? Other than, like, it was kind of like, okay, you know, the parts with her and Jaime like that, but I was kind of indifferent to her character.
Yeah.
And I feel like in the show, because of the actress, she's become a more popular character. Well, not necessarily more popular, but more recognizable.
Yeah,
and more,
especially with her playing Phasma in the new Star Wars.
well, I just feel before that even, like, just with her in that role really brought that character up, because it kind of almost felt like before that we had that actress and that embodiment of the role, like she wasn't a side character, but she was kind of like, you know what I mean, she was just one of those characters to link other people. It was what it kind of felt like. Whereas now with the actress in that role, it feels like, okay, that character is its own defined kind of character, and I feel like she really brought some to that. And then you get some of the other, you know, some of the more minor characters and stuff, like Tormund Giantsbane. That guy is fantastic. That guy is just great. There's so many people that just hit it out of the park. I'm having I can't think of his name, the gentleman that played Oberyn. Martell.
Way back seasons ago.
Yeah. And his fight with the mountain and everything.
Oh, good Lord, that fight. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, he was great in that role, because he was one of those guys, like, you kind of liked him, but you kind of hated him. Like, it's like, you're a complete dirtbag, but I kind of like you because you're a dirtbag. And just
then when the mountains, like, crush, you're like...
As at one point you're like, oh my goodness, he didn't win, but at the same time you're like, oh my goodness, the mountain won. It was one of those, like, it's hard to root for either side.
Oh, yeah.
So many of the actors have done such good jobs with these different roles over the year that you got to give them credit. I mean, and then you got people like Lena Headey, who's an amazing actress. Like, she has made tons of people across the globe hate her. But that's because she's such an amazing actress.
As Cersei?
That she's able to get them so worked up as Cersei that, you know, just people like, oh, I can't stand the side of her.
Yep.
Because she's such a good actress that you can't stand the side of her.
Yeah, it was
like the guy that played Joffrey. Same thing.
I still hate him. Anyway.
Yeah, people with a fiery vengeance hate that guy. Like, people, you can post a picture of Joffrey on social media and get an immediately vitriolic reaction.
Like,
I have to give that kid credit.
He did an amazing job, though.
He defined that character and made you hate that character.
Oh, totally.
Totally. In the books, it's like, oh, God, Joffrey's annoying. But in the TV show, it's like, God, I hate Joffrey.
Yeah, I know, right?
He was so good in that role. He just played that whiny little arrogant. Well.
For sure. So for me, because you said, like, you know, Jon Snow and everyone else, and so for me, the one character that. So I love there's a lot of different characters I really enjoy. Like, I love.
Yeah, it's hard to narrow down because they're all so good.
I know.
It really is.
Like, I love Jon Snow's arc. I love Daenerys's. I love, I definitely love Tyrion's. But I think, and for a while, I didn't like Sansa's because, she was being the little, like, I'm a spoiled brat type thing. And then as she dealt with more and more bull crap and she got older, and it was just like, yeah, no, I'm not messing with Sansa now.
Yeah, I think a lot of people misinterpret the Sansa's story arc, because the way I've always seen it is that her story arc is almost a literal deconstruction of the traditional princess mythos.
Oh, yeah, no, because she was like the little, spoiled brat that wants to marry the prince, become a queen and everything.
She had the perfect life, everything was wonderful, everything. Her entire destiny was set in stone as, she was going to become the next queen, and everything was great, and then it was just tragedy after tragedy after tragedy after tragedy. I mean, but those tragedies made her stronger and developed her into her own person. Yeah. She's no longer a carbon copy of her mother. Mm-hmm. She's Sansa Stark now. She's no longer just another Catelyn Stark, kind of thing. And
that's the thing, though. It's like in those
Not taking anything from Catelyn, but
Catelyn
wasn't exactly the best character in the world either.
True.
If it wasn't for her, a lot of things wouldn't have happened that happened to her children and her husband and things like that.
But like I definitely agree because even in those first few episodes, she was such a spoiled brat, and then after Ned Stark's head comes off, she's still a bit of a spoiled brat because she kind of betrays her family, but then kind of goes back and forth, and then finally
at that same time, like especially in the Battle for Blackwater, you see that she's learning from Cersei.
Yes,
like just the little subtle things, like where she goes and prays so she can be alone.
Yep.
You know, things like that. Like, you see that Sansa's starting to figure things out, and she's starting to learn. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, she marries Tyrion, and she starts a little bit more growth there. And you start to see
then
her
she
learn
runs
a little bit
away,
more,
and
then the whole Littlefinger thing. You see such a huge character progression on her. And
I think it's honestly after Littlefinger saves her, and she's under the control of Ramsay Bolton, where she just comes out of her shell and just kicks some serious butt.
Yeah, I think it was the because if you watch it, there's that one point where she kind of tries to redefine herself.
Yeah.
With Peter Baelish, where she's in the veil and everything. She comes back with the dark hair and she's pretending to be like a cousin or whatever like that. Mm-hmm. You see that point where she's trying to redefine herself, and almost like she's trying to emulate Littlefinger at that time.
Yes.
But he goes ahead and betrays her as well and sells her off to Ramsay Bolton. And at that point, I kind of feel like she tries to slowly, she learned from Littlefinger. Mm-hmm. She learned from Cersei. She learned from her mother. She's learned from all these people. She's, you know, she could look at people like Tyrion and say, you know, how smart and how much she used to admire him, and, you know, how you know, she looked at him. Yeah. She kind of see, so she took a little bit from all these different people that have been around her and now she's a force to be reckoned with within the Game of Thrones.
I mean, she fed Ramsay to his dogs.
Yeah,
so
and that was,
she's terrifying.
And
now.
that was another one of those great moments in TV, because you just was like, okay, that was a satisfying way to end that.
Like, I actually cheered, I think, when that happened.
Because that was one of the things I was trying to, like, how are they going to do this that's going to be satisfying? Mm-hmm. Like, because there's so many people that are upset with what happened with her and everything, with that, her whole ordeal with Ramsay. There were so many people upset about it and the way like she was treated and stuff. So it was like, okay, how are they going to wrap that up so that those people feel like they got their satisfaction, and then the people that enjoy like just the overall arcing story get satisfaction, like, okay, that was a good way out for the character.
Yeah,
you know,
for
things
sure.
like that. How are you going to balance that? And I think they did perfect.
I think they did too. So, but I think my favorite character arc though is and a lot of other people are sitting in the same boat that I am, but it's Arya Stark. Because for me, like in the very beginning of the series, you know, I saw her and she's, you know, trying to be one of the boys. I'm like, I relate to this girl already because that was so me growing up. Because, you know, I would do a lot of the things guys would,
kind of thing.
Exactly, yeah. And, you know, and she's learning how to fight with Needle, and, you know, what do we say to the, you know, the god of death, and all that stuff is going on. And I think it's
water dancing.
Exactly. And, you know, even her journey with the Hound, and she's writing up the list of people she wants to kill. I'm like, oh my God, no way. I have a list of like fictional characters I wish, like, you know, would die. As dark as that is, it's just kind of the thing of like, every time I see them, I just hate their guts so much that it's like, I wish you die. I wish you would. And then they would, or it's like, no, this is a kid's movie. You can't kill off this character. It would be bad for the children. Or they get eaten by a dragon in Shrek.
There you go.
But yeah, no, so her, and then her whole thing with the, you know, the man, the no name, like the man with no name or whatever, from that point forward, I was like, Arya is the biggest badass ever. And I was sold on everything else she did from that moment forward.
I think they did a good job with her character as far as, and you gotta give Maisie Williams credit on that too, because she's an amazing actress. She's really done well with that character and really helped, I think, bring it above and beyond just what George has written in the book for that character as well. Because we're only so far in her character development in the book. You know, we're well beyond her character development in the show. And I imagine we don't know for sure. You know, I mean, nobody will know until the books come out. But it's probably different than what's going to happen in the books and everything.
Probably.
But the way they've done it, it can't take anything away from the books, and I don't think the books can take anything away from this character either.
Yeah,
you know, because it's its own thing. So I think they did a really good job with her overall character arc.
But I think I'm going to go to one of your next questions. You said something about, you know, favorite story arc.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of, you know, really good stories and like just things that happen through the series that have just been fantastic. I would have to say, I think my favorite story arc is when Jon and like the ragtag team that he put together go over the wall and go to, you know, deal with the White Walkers and the Night King. And all of the memes that came after that where they're playing the 8-Team theme song. Like, just the fact that it's like, okay, you grabbed literally the most like ragtag group of like guys and just took them over the wall. And like that was, I think, just that whole like adventure sequence, and then like Arya returning home and killing Littlefinger, like that was just all really satisfying.
Yeah, that was good. That was definitely a good one. One of my favorite storylines in the whole thing probably has to do when Tyrion and I'm having a brain fart on. Jorah Mormont are traveling together.
Oh yes,
back to Dany. Their whole dichotomy, like that whole odd
that
couple
is also
thing,
really good.
like
yeah.
that entire little story thread right there. Just I enjoyed every time those two were on screen together.
That one was also very good.
It was enjoyable. Him and Varys, not as much. They're still good together, but something about those two actors just worked really well together. They had a great rapport, a great screen chemistry. So that was one of my favorites. That, and then probably the Red Wedding, just because having read the books and knowing it was coming, and just everybody, just at the time going like, oh my god, this is like it's coming. It's like this next episode is going to be crazy. It just knowing what was going to happen and everybody around me at the time, just not having any clue, and getting to see the reactions from people during the Red Wedding. It was such. It was such an interesting thing to see. It really was a cultural phenomenon at the time.
Oh, it totally
and just the way
was.
that, like, everybody freaked out about it, and just it was interesting. Especially it was one of those things like it should have been a spoiler because the book had been out for a couple of years at that point.
But
people should have known like this was coming. And so it was just so funny to see like somehow so many people didn't have this spoiled for them. And then they got that reaction. It was fun to see.
So what's funny is that you say that, and nobody spoiled for me what exactly the Red Wedding was.
Yeah.
But they would reference it.
Yeah.
A lot, this is about as terrifying or as tragic as the Red Wedding, and I'm like, what the hell's the Red Wedding?
Yeah.
And this is like, it's from Game of Thrones. I'm like, okay, thanks. And then I finally sat down.
Well, you can't explain what it is without spoiling it.
Exactly.
All you can say is the Red Wedding. Same with the Purple Wedding. Like, it's like the Purple Wedding's crazy satisfactory.
But the Red Wedding is like, here's the Purple Wedding. There's the Red Wedding all the way up there. But no, like when the Red Wedding happened, though, like when we got to that episode and they're sitting there and Walder Frey is like, yeah, toast. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, cool. And I'm thinking like, okay, where is this I know the Red Wedding is supposed to happen at some point in the series. I'm trying to figure out which characters it's going to be between.
Well, just because they call it the Red Wedding, you don't know what does that even mean.
Yeah, no, like, is it red because they chose that as their color?
Yeah.
Is it red because, a lot of people die, which it is, or is it red because wine? I don't know.
Yeah, because you can take it with a grain of salt because it's like, okay, there's a character named the Night King, but technically it doesn't have anything to do with the night.
Exactly.
It's snow, and so it's like, okay,
yeah. So when that finally happened, and then suddenly I started seeing like people being poisoned and dying, and I was like, uh-oh. That entire episode, my jaw was on the floor. Like, I don't think I reacted like that to such a horrific thing. In Game of Thrones, at least, because there's a couple of other like things. I think Infinity War, I had like a reaction, but this was like, oh my god, what is happening?
Yeah, because it was the way they filmed it. It was brutal.
Oh my god, it was.
Yeah, they did a really good job with that. Oh, I have to give them credit. Really, they've done an amazing job with special effects just overall in this show.
I think the
like,
only
other than a couple little like questionable CGI things that it's like, okay, they obviously ran out a little bit of money on that episode, which you can't get mad about because we're getting dragons. You can't get mad at it. So occasionally, if there's something a little wonky, they've done such a good job with everything.
Oh yeah, no, that was that whole thing was just great. I think the only other thing in Game of Thrones where I had like such a gut reaction to was I don't remember her name, the little girl that Sir Davos.
Oh, Marine.
Marine.
Wait, no, was that her name?
I think so. Yeah, her name was Marine.
Okay.
The one that they sacrificed. When that happened and I heard her blood, I was hiding behind a pillow because I was shaking so hard, like, no, you're killing the little girl, no. And my husband's sitting there, like, he's got an evil grin on his face because he knows that there's worse to come.
Yeah.
But he's also sitting there like, it's okay.
Handing you a tissue and going like, yeah, that sucks.
I know. Sorry.
Keep watching. Yeah, this whole show's been so good overall.
Oh yeah.
Now, have you read the books as well?
I have not. I have not had the opportunity to sit down and read the books. I'm a little weird about watching a movie, reading, or watching a TV series and reading the books. I know with like films like the Percy Jackson series, I actually managed to read all the books before the first movie came out.
Okay.
Harry Potter, I am still in the first chapter of the third book, which is the only one I've read. I have not found the energy to sit down and read all the Harry Potter ones.
I have no interest in them, to be honest. That's just...
The only other books where I was able to watch the film and then go read at least the novelization of them later has been the Star Wars films.
Yeah.
But that's, look at me, come on. So that was easier.
Well, and then Star Wars stuff don't, like, unless you're actually reading the novelization of the movie, really don't have anything to do with the movies, so you can go do whatever the heck you want to. So,
exactly, yeah. And usually, I mean, like the novelizations for at least Star Wars, just kind of going off tangent here, like at least the original 3 films are very much mirrored in the novelization. 1, 2, and 3 flow very differently from the films.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, no. So I would recommend go reading them, especially episode 3, because episode 3 flows so much differently that you read it and then watch the movie and you're like, I kind of like the book better, but I also like the movie. I don't know which one. So anyway, back to Game of Thrones.
Yeah. So were there any plot points in the show that you've been disappointed with?
Disappointed plot points.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I don't think there really has been anything that's had me sit there and go, oh, okay, well, that sucked. I mean, I think if I felt disappointed about it, it's probably because, okay, hold on, that story may not be over yet, or that's just the ending they can give you now. I think the closest one I could say is probably the death of Khal Drogo.
Okay.
Jason Momoa's character, like, because he was such this big, beastly like character, and then it's like, oh, now he's a vegetable.
Yeah, it gets taken out by an infection.
Yeah, and I'm like, I feel like he's supposed to be more awesome than this. But then later on, it was a whole thing for Dany's story, not really his, and I was like, okay, I can forgive it, but it's still kind of weird.
Yeah.
But that's the only one I would really consider. Everything else has kind of been pretty good. Because everything else has either shocked me or like left me like, okay.
Okay.
So
yeah, that's fair. Yeah, for me, the only thing that was really just super disappointing to me was how they wrapped up the stuff with like the sand snakes and the sister from Dorne.
That just made me sad.
I didn't mind like the rest of the plot when they went to try to go get the daughter back and everything. Like, I didn't mind any of that. It was just how they ended those characters stuff was kind of, I just felt like that was kind of anticlimactic. Like, it made sense the way Cersei did everything. Like, it made perfect sense.
It did.
It just kind of felt anticlimactic.
It kind of did, but at the same time, it was all. I think it was more sad because like I wanted to see more of them. But
yeah. Yeah, and the thing that I thought was the most shocking or like craziest part of the show was when they did the explosion of the Sept of Baelor.
You're going to have to remind me.
When Cersei was supposed to go back for her trial and exploded everyone and everything.
And killed...
everybody.
Everybody, and then...
Tommen kills himself.
Oh, God. Yeah. Oh, that was so hard to watch.
That was... That part, because I don't remember, like,
that was the end of... That's the end of one of the seasons. Like, that's how, like, one of the seasons end.
Yeah, and it's been so long since I've actually picked up the books because I've been waiting to read them again until the next book comes out.
Yeah.
So it's just, there's a lot of things that I don't remember. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, that part, that's one of the things. I don't remember if that was in the book or not. It's been so long since I've read it. It's just, did they get that far? I don't think they got that far, but did they? So for me, that was super shocking. I was just like, oh my God, I did not...
Oh, yeah, no. Like,
did not see that coming
No,
at all.
no. Like, I was sad because I actually liked... oh God, what's her name? Tommen's wife.
Yeah, Marjorie Tyrell.
Marjorie, yes, I liked her.
And the actress is great. She's fantastic.
But
She's
I
so much
loved her grandmother.
Who also was in a Marvel movie.
She was.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I didn't. Oh wow.
She was in Captain America: The First Avenger. She's the girl that was kissing on Captain America when Agent Carter walks around the corner.
Yep. Yeah. Oh my God, that's okay. Wow. The more you know.
Yeah.
No, I loved her. I loved the grandmother though. Lady Tyrell.
Oh, yeah. Oh, she was a great character.
Oh, my God.
Such a good character.
Her death was the best of the whole show. And the thing is, though, I don't say that because, like, there's all the satisfying ones for the people that have been kind of seen as antagonists and villains. Hers was just the best of all the good guys because she sat there and said, yeah, I killed Joffrey, fuck you. And then, sorry, my language, but you can bleep that out.
No, she did good because she kind of went out on her own terms. Like, her place was getting ran over, but she didn't sit there and just accept it. She
Exactly.
drank her own poison and said, "Hey, guess what, Jack? Guess who killed your son? It was me."
I did. Yeah, no. Sorry again for my language. I didn't mean to go that far, but
yeah, no, that was a
pretty much
very
what it was.
satisfying way for a character to go out. That was a good one. That was a good one.
Especially as Jamie just stood there and went, "You did what?"
Yeah, like that was probably one of the more satisfying deaths. When we got to see Tyrion kill Tywin.
Oh, that was also
very
a really good
satisfying.
one.
Especially just because of the heartbreak he gets in right before that with having to kill
His girlfriend.
Shay.
Shay, yeah.
And especially with, and they didn't go into it in as much depth in the show, but in the books they go into a lot of depth of the fact that he married the first woman he ever loved, the prostitute when he was a kid. And everything.
Okay.
They go into a lot of depth about that, and he talks about that a lot in the books. So it was, it was a little bit more meaningful if you'd read the books and known a little bit more about that backstory and how much it was just soul-shattering betrayal for Tyrion to walk in on that.
Yeah.
And just how much it would have hurt him in his soul to have to, just for why he ended up killing her, just in how much that would affect him and end up going and kill his father. So that whole little plot thread right there was one of the, that was just
really
such a satisfying,
Also, I think the first satisfying death in Game of Thrones was the death of Dany's brother.
Yes.
When they poured the gold on him, and technically he's not supposed to, if he's a real Targaryen, he wouldn't burn. And he just,
well, that's one of those things that's like, they don't actually ever say if Targaryens are immune to fire. It's implied, but then in the books, it's like, well, that was because it was magic, but was it?
I mean, because we see Dany walk out of the flames later, and that was the whole reference to like, oh, that makes sure
Jon's a Targaryen, and he gets burnt by a lantern in like the third episode. So it's one of those like, how does it work kind of thing. Was she immune to the fire because of the birth of the dragons and the magic in that? And, they always talk about sacrifice with the fire, like that's all about Melisandre. There's always sacrifice in the fire, and each time Dany has not been burnt by fire, there was a sacrifice.
Oh, that is interesting. Yeah.
Like there's the sacrifice of her child and Khal Drogo and herself walking into the flames, and then when she pushes over the things and kills everybody, she's literally sacrificing all the matrons and leaders from the Dothraki. So it's kind of one of those.
Okay, that's an interesting one.
So it's definitely one of those open to interpretation things because they never just come out flat out and say Targaryens can't be hurt by fire. Yeah. Because also you have to go into in the lore of the books, there was the tragedy at Summer Hall, where a ton of the Targaryens and their family all burned to death in a fire. That was where Rhaegar was born.
Yes. Okay.
So there's
some plot holes there.
Yeah. So in it's a TV show.
But I think that was the first satisfying one because at that point, up to that point, he was just a jerk, and they're like, "Here, gold." It's like,
I'm thinking about it. I have to go back and look at it. It was something I was actually thinking about earlier today when we were getting ready, talking about doing the episode and everything today and talking about Game of Thrones. I need to go back and look at that scene where he dies again because. Spoilers. Again, if you're still listening, spoilers. Battle of Winterfell spoilers coming up right now.
Okay. Here we go. We're talking about Battle of Winterfell. Let's do this.
Okay, this is your last chance to turn it off. I'm going to talk about something Battle of Winterfell and in this season. Okay. When Viserys dies and he has the gold poured on his head.
Yes.
Do you remember which side the gold goes down on his face?
The one that's facing the camera, I think.
It was his left side, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Which side of Viserys's face was chewed off in the Battle of Winterfell?
Yo!
His left side. Where the fire was pouring out of his cheek and everything.
Oh my God, yeah.
I don't know if that was on purpose or I have to go back and look at that because it's been quite a while since I watched that first episode.
Yeah.
Even leading up to this season, I watched all the other, but that's one of the first season episodes. I just can't remember.
Right? Okay.
I'm thinking for some reason it's stuck in my head that it's on the left side of his face, but I got to go back and look at that. So, anybody listening right now, post in the comments if you remember that off the top of your head. I got to go back and look at that because that could be another one of those interesting parallels and just, one of those things that they go back to because the dragon bearing his name.
So,
missing that part of his face and everything. So.
And speaking of the new season, I think there's only 3 episodes right now. There's 3 more to go.
Yeah, 3 more to go.
I think
they're all about the length. They're what, like 5 minutes shorter than the one we just got?
No. They're all about like feature length film length.
Yeah, which is about 5 minutes shorter than the one we got.
The one we got was like an hour and 30 minutes. Like these are like predicted to be about 2 hours.
Oh, I thought they were all going to be like an hour and 20.
No.
Oh, wow.
Like this is like full on like 2 hour long.
Wow. See, I figured the battle one would have been longer than the
I mean, according to the creators of Game of Thrones, this is the longest, filmed battle sequence
which
ever.
I mean, it's almost a full solid 2 hours of battle.
It is.
I mean, just
Yeah.
it's insane.
So, but why don't we talk the new season?
Yeah, I mean, let's get up there. We're talking a little bit of a character development and everything. So let's get on to some of these finalized character developments that we're getting here in the show right now.
So the first episode, which is when everybody finally comes together.
And really, the first and the second episode probably should have just been one double-length episode.
I think it should have as well, but
it kind of feels like they split up one episode. If you watch them back to back, it really, really feels like it's one episode split in two.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely agree there, but I also kind of like the way they did it because it very much shows, okay, here's us gathering the forces, and then here's your last night together before everything's gonna hit the fan.
Yeah.
So the moods are different between the two, but they could have just flowed right into one.
How do you feel about the reunions with characters? We had a lot of reunions for this final season. A lot of story build-ups. We had, we got Brienne and Jaime coming back together.
Yeah.
We've got the Stark kids all coming back together.
Yeah.
Finally in one place again.
Yes.
We've got Dany and all of her crew reuniting with the people of Westeros. The people of Westeros going, oh my God, there's a Dothraki horde here. We've got so much reunions going on and so many new characters introducing to, like, we had some of the first times characters meeting each other, like Dany and Sansa meeting for the first time, things of that nature. And then, we have other characters that we've loved forever, like Davos Seaworth, getting that screen time with, Jaime Lannister and Tyrion and some of these other characters. And so there was a lot of that going on. What was your favorite of the reunions? Which ones did you enjoy?
So of like the reunion-esque scenes, I definitely enjoy the reunion because it made me laugh of Tormund, Brienne, and Jaime.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, it was, like, kind of like one after the other type thing. It's like, okay, Brienne and Jaime have their reunion, and then, because, she stands up for him.
Yeah.
And then Tormund coming back and be like, Brienne! Smack! Like, the whole anime thing where, like, he leaps at her hearts in his eyes, and then somebody smacks him to the ground, like...
Just every time, that moment when he and, I'm having I can't remember the last of the Night's Watch guys.
Oh, yeah.
Edmund. Is it Edmund? Edmure? Edmure, I think it's Edmure.
Yeah, but they call him Ed.
Yeah, Ed. When he's coming, he sees Jon, and they're walking towards each other, just comes out the side hatch and tackles Jon. And
It was like, here, Ed and Jon are gonna have this like reunion hug. Bam.
What? Oh, the first three, the last three. You know what I mean? These are our first three of our Night's Watch that we really,
followed
got to know,
and
and they're the last three of the Night's Watch. Like, okay, they're getting the reunion, and then here comes Giantsbane out the side hatch.
Yep.
It was a perfect moment.
I think Tormund in any of his reunions were fantastic.
Yeah, and then his eyes, the way he lights up. Where's the big woman? He's so good.
He's so good. But I think my favorite, and this is one that, again, a lot of people were probably anticipating, was the reunion between Jon and Arya.
Yeah.
And that one was just really interesting because he's like, how many times have you used it? 3. And it's like, oh, you don't realize how many other people she's killed, though, without needing to use that sword. But it's still like, it's still really kind of like satisfying because they don't realize how, in a way, how more powerful and stronger they each other have become.
That one I thought was an interesting one because we have probably the two most badass fighters.
Oh, yeah.
In all of the 7 kingdoms.
Yep.
They're next to each other. They have probably the closest relationship of any of the characters in the show. Mm-hmm. And neither of them knows the other one anymore.
Well, yeah, I know, because they're completely like different in their skills and everything.
They both had such an insane journey.
Oh, yeah.
Both of them on separate heroes' journeys.
Yep.
Equally of importance and everything, and then both coming together at the same time. And them kind of looking at the other one like, oh yeah, this is just, it's my older brother Jon. He's just being a worrywart.
Like you're still like some, like weak little kid.
And he's still going, hey, it's my little sister Sansa. You know what I mean? It's my girl. Like, how you doing? Just this little sister. So it was interesting to see that dichotomy, like just them both kind of not giving each other enough credit. But at the same time, still having that admiration and respect for each other.
Oh yeah.
They're brother and sister, and they love each other. So that one was very interesting. I really enjoyed that one.
That one was good.
And also the foreshadowing that it had with her sneaking up on Jon, and
also, so I know we're not there yet, but Jaime's kind of like before the queen type thing, and everybody's there, and Bran is sitting in the wheelchair, and he says the line, "All for love, isn't it?" Or like,
the things we do for love.
The things we do for love.
You gotta do it, Bran, though. You gotta go. The things we do for love.
And then Jamie just, the things we do for love. And Jamie just looks over like,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
He gets that look of like, oh crap.
he remembers and I'm screwed.
Yeah, cool. Because the last thing anybody had ever said about Bran Stark to Jamie
Was when
they reported, or when Tyrion tells him, no, he doesn't remember anything.
Oh, yeah.
That's the last time Bran Stark is ever mentioned, or Jamie ever mentions Bran Stark again.
Because he said, like, he didn't remember anything, and now that he's the three-eyed raven, he remembers everything.
How's the, oh, he woke up, how's he doing? Oh, he doesn't remember anything. Yeah, that was the last time that they talked about it. And then here he is, he's seeing him again, the things we do for love. Oh, shit.
It's like, oh, well, I'm in trouble.
But at the same time, like, it doesn't matter anymore.
No. I mean,
he can get in trouble for pushing Bran out of the thing, but as far as anything else, it doesn't matter if he was sleeping with Cersei anymore because all their kids are dead.
Yeah, no. And I think...
It doesn't matter if there's an illegitimate heir because they're all dead.
Yeah. And I think the Bran... Not really forgiving him, but forgiving him in a way, at least enough to be like, we need all the men we can have. We need the help.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't rat you out.
Yeah.
Plus, I'm not like that anymore because I'm the three-eyed raven and I'm emotionless.
He's not Bran Stark anymore. Bran Stark would have probably cared about it, but three-eyed raven doesn't care anymore.
No.
Because there's implied that he's now every three-eyed raven that ever lived, so...
Yep. So
personal concerns like that don't matter anymore.
So now I guess now that we've kind of had like the reunionary episode, kind of talking about it, what was your favorite part of the kind of like this is their last night episode?
I feel like everybody kind of has the same, anyway, from what I've seen online, it's the Brienne getting knighted. I mean, literally the Knight of the Seven Kingdoms was the title of the episode, referencing back to the book about her, what is alluded to being her grandfather in Sir Duncan the Tall. Just that whole same correlation there. And then Jamie getting to do it. Yeah. Kind of like the only way he can ever say I love you.
Yeah,
really,
because this is. I mean, they. If you watch like the behind the scenes thing that's after the credits, the guys were talking about how she doesn't understand that she's actually in love with him.
Yeah,
and
I don't think he does either.
Yeah,
because he's had such a screwed up conception of what love is.
Because of his sister,
and his father too.
That's also true.
I mean, his father basically let the Mad King take him in as. Take away his heir. So there's a lot there. The Jamie, he doesn't really have a functioning, healthy mindset when it comes to love and relationships. So the fact that he did that for Brienne, I think, is about the best way he could express something like that. And the way he would know, like, get over here, let's do this. You know what I mean? It's stupid.
Yeah.
I thought it was great. It was good. And then as soon as Tormund standing up and clapping.
Oh, also Podrick. I didn't realize that actor had such a pretty singing voice.
What can Podrick do?
Apparently, he can do everything.
Nothing. And then it was great because the memes that popped up after that is like, is that what he did in the brothel? Did he sing for him? Is that what it was?
Oh yeah, because there was the whole thing in the brothel of how he went away with the women, and they're like, oh, that was fantastic. Back the coins,
like, you're supposed to give the coins to the girls. They wouldn't take it. Grabs a chair and brings it over.
What did you do?
Yeah, we need details, explicit details.
So I mean,
did he sing?
He might have,
possibly. And now he's a good fighter. Podrick's turned into a little badass there.
He is. I'm excited to see more of Podrick. But
and so who's going to be the next heartthrob Game of Thrones? Is it going to be Podrick, or is it going to be our blacksmith friend that Arya seems to be?
So what's interesting is I saw the memes of the two of them doing it.
Yeah.
And then I saw the episode, and then it happens, and I'm like, this is weird because
I was kind of off-put by it because I've been watching her since she was a child in this role.
Yeah.
And in the books, it hasn't been as much time as it has for the actors in the TV show.
And what's also...
So she's still technically only 14 years old, so it's...
But yet, no,
it's off-putting a little bit, but I understand, she's a 21-year-old actress, it's not in real life. Weird. It's just... Seeing that character, it's off-putting for that character.
Here's the other interesting thing that I realized later on is that out of the two Stark girls, Arya's the only one that's actually had sex. Sansa's only been raped.
Yes, this is true.
Sansa hasn't actually properly had sex with someone. She's only been raped by people.
Yeah.
And so that's an interesting thing of she's like, that scene was weird.
Yeah, I didn't even
think about that.
I didn't even think about that. It's true.
It was weird, but at the same time, it was also You know what? I ship it, so...
Yeah. And it actually holds a little bit more weight towards when she tells Tyrion, of all my husbands, you were the best of them. Like,
Yeah.
'cause he literally didn't touch her and said, I'm not going to unless you're comfortable with it.
Exactly.
Like, he was, super, super as gentlemanly as you can be in a forced marriage.
And the man was the one who would touch every woman in the brothel.
Yeah. The biggest whoremonger in the Seven Kingdoms, and he's like, no.
Because he knows she's a child.
Yeah,
and he knows
exactly. He did the right thing. So
Yeah, he did.
that was interesting.
Yeah.
And I like Arya and Gendry.
Yes.
And I like the whole allusion to the very first episode. I have a son, you have a daughter. Let's join our houses.
And then,
and then
ding, ding, ding.
Here we are again. Getting this final season, and
There we go.
their houses are joining. So
Here they are.
kind of.
I think probably one of my favorite moments of that reunion-esque episode is when Podrick is singing and we're seeing everything that's going on and happening.
Yeah.
And one of the moments is Sansa sitting with Theon.
Yeah. That
And
was it was.
Because he's the
Her
only...
reaction when he got there
Yeah.
surprised me. I didn't expect that. Like,
Neither
I
did
expected
I.
her to be like, to be happy he was there, but not to like, almost in tears and running up to him to hug. Like that. I didn't expect.
That alludes that she may have had like feelings for him a long time ago.
Well, what I think it was is also an allusion to in the books. I can't remember if it was in the TV show if he mentioned it all, but in the books, in Theon's POVs, like he talks about how he had thought at one point that Ned Stark was going to end up marrying Sansa off to him.
Oh.
Like it's what he thought.
Okay.
He kind of had thought in the way things would end up, he would be married to Sansa. Because he was friends with Robb and everything else, and he wasn't thinking of the fact that he was basically a prisoner there.
Yeah, because they didn't treat him like a prisoner.
No,
they treated him
yeah.
like their own son.
For the most part, they still they treated him about like they did Jon.
Yeah.
Catelyn was better to him than she was Jon, but
true.
You would have been in the same kind of dichotomy. You're not one of our sons, but you're still a member of the family. We're still going to treat you right.
Yeah, the Starks.
You're my ward. You're not my son.
Yeah.
So it was interesting for that. So I thought that was kind of like a tongue-in-cheek reference to that a little bit, but it was nice to see that, and that's another character that got a great character arc too, because he was one of those characters that it was so easy to hate him. So easy to hate him.
Well, I mean, like at first everybody kind of liked him, and then when he betrayed everything, that's when it was like, dude, you're
and even
you're a
seeing
jerk.
him getting tortured and him
Becoming
getting
a
castrated
eunuch.
and everything,
Yeah.
like it was like at that point there was no sympathy. It was like, oh
No.
well, that's what happens. Dick.
Pretty much, yeah.
You get what you get.
And then his whole.
And then slowly you start to like feel bad for him and feel worse for him as he turns into Reek and everything keeps happening to him and then he
gets
comes back from it. He gets
because
his
his
redemption.
sister.
And then that point where he refuses his sister, like there's so many low points for that character. It was nice to see him come back from that and to get a high point. And the way they sent him off with Bran telling you were a good man.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah, no, and now I think it's time to talk about the Battle of Winterfell.
Yeah.
The big battle. Since we're almost,
Yeah, we're almost out of time here, and we don't want to spoil too much because
yeah.
there's little things,
But
but fantastically well. Like a lot of people complain it was too dark. I don't know. I didn't have a problem tracking anything.
No, I was able to catch
I
everything.
play a lot of dark video games though, so that could very well be a factor in it. And it's something I was talking with one of my friends about. He was like, I couldn't track it. And I was like, I wonder if it has to do with like people to, who knows?
Yeah.
But great show, or great the opening scene when those
The Dothraki and the flame swords.
Like seeing them all light and go up that line and everything, and just like Sansa like watching it go by. That was so neat.
And then watching like from the distance as they run and then slowly start to fade.
And that's that shot where it's Dany and Jon up on the hill, and you're seeing that entire horde going across with the
Yes,
fire
that's
and
so
everything,
cool.
kind of making that V formation. Like it was so neat. And then just
What's interesting is that, so even though it did seem like a teeny bit dark, that's only because when we were watching, we had all the lights on, so we turned all the lights off. It made it more horror-like, just because you couldn't see what was happening. It's like, oh, okay. But
my biggest problem with the entire Battle of Winterfell was I feel like Jon would have done things much differently because the last battle he fought on that field.
he did.
He would have fought that battle much, much differently than what they did. I think just because of the heavy cavalry aspect of it and what happened in the Battle of the Bastards, and knowing there's no heavy cavalry on the dead side, I don't think they would have wasted the Dothraki like they did. I think they would have held the Dothraki back, had them charged at the Unsullied, and then as they're on the fight line of the Unsullied, you have the Dothraki come from the sides and just run over everything.
The thing is, though,
Yeah.
I don't think he was doing a lot of the planning.
Yeah,
I think it was.
but that's also looking at it from a outside perspective and things like that. And they're fighting the undead. It's not
true.
We can sit there and criticize because we've watched 8 million different zombie movies. We're not in a medieval society fighting a foe that we've never fought before and have hundreds of years of traditional battle strategy ingrained into our heads.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then they also has to run into the factor of
that Danny is probably doing some.
And then
planning.
Sully are going to plan for themselves, and other people. So it's like we've got 5 different armies, and we have to have them all work together in one. So there would have been a lot of logistics things there. But it was a great episode. I loved watching the special effects, and were great.
Oh yeah,
that shot,
the dragon fights.
The shot of the dragons, like when they go up in front of that moon and everything.
Oh, it's so pretty.
Such amazing, and the visual of that spot where the storm is like curling and Drogon's like going through and breathing down the fire, and just that storm is lit up from the dragon fire on the ground. Man, that was so cool.
Also, we didn't get a lot of so a lot of characters died, but we didn't get a lot of major character deaths.
Yeah, that was probably my one critique with the entire episode. Like really, real critique. Like honest. Like this is the one thing I didn't like. Was they built up so many characters to die,
and then they only killed like 3,
and they weren't like other than Jorah, there weren't any really major deaths.
I mean, so there was Jorah, there was Theon, there was
Theon's
Lyanna
not
Mormont.
A major death. Huh? It's Theon. He's not a major death.
No.
It's Theon Greyjoy. Jorah, he's pretty important to Dany and everything else. Like, Theon might be a little bit important to Sansa, but nobody else gives a shit about Theon. So he's not really a major death.
But it was a nice, Ed,
not really a major death either.
No.
Like, for us, but not really. The little bear, not like, it was epic. It was epic to see her little
take on a giant,
just screaming and running at that giant. That was so cool. I love that actress. She's fantastic. But again, not a major death. She's a minor character. But
people are still sad to see her go.
People love her. Yeah, but it's still not a major death. We're not talking about a major player. One of the people that's actively
Melisandre, the red woman. Yes. She did die, and she's a major character.
We fully expected that, though.
That's true.
She said that she was going to die there, like she was going to die at the battle. We already knew that.
She'd die at the dawn. By dawn, she'd be dead. And sure enough, there's dawn.
That. Yeah, and that was also really neat the way they did that too, with her walking out, taking off that necklace, and then kind of like dusting away a little bit.
Yeah,
I thought that was really
that was
done.
very nice ending for her. I think. Obviously, they have a reason behind it, meaning that there's still more that has to be done with the battle with Cersei.
Be a ton of deaths coming up.
Oh, yeah.
2 of the characters I expected one of them to die this last episode was either Jaime or Tyrion. Makes me wonder if Bronn is actually going to kill somebody.
Maybe.
Because neither of them died.
They're
perfectly fine.
It's true.
Tyrion's kind of developing a relationship with Sansa again, questioning his relationship with Daenerys. She's kind of questioning his loyalty a little bit. And could be setting him up for a big fall here.
Yeah, no, we're going to get a lot of deaths. But I will say, I think we have had, I think out of all of Game of Thrones, I think the most satisfying of deaths are between 2 different deaths of Ramsay Bolton and Littlefinger, as well as Joffrey. Those three are the big satisfying deaths.
Oh yeah, those 3 are.
I think even though the Night King has been built up and built up and built up, I think his death was also really satisfying, especially because Arya is like, and then just full on drops the knife, and then gets him in the ribs. It was also
nice that foreshadowing from last season with that whole move, everything like that. There's a lot of little nice foreshadowing, and I also think like the people built up the Night King too much because for the TV show, like it was it's a character for the show, and they kind of had to have like the personification because there's so much extra narration that goes in to the books and explaining the others and the long night and everything else. So, just everything that goes into you get a lot more explained, so you don't need a central bad guy.
Yeah, exactly.
It can be an overarching evil, not just one character. So,
but it was still really satisfying to watch her just kind of be.
It was perfect. It was perfect for the TV show. It was exactly what
they needed to do. It was
exactly. And we're going to close it on this because I'm curious to see if other people how they feel about it because there's something that I found yesterday.
Oh, what'd you find?
I had you listen to it.
Oh, yes, you did. I was asking for the audience more.
Yeah. So what we did was somebody had posted something on Twitter, and I looked at it, and I was like, I got to look that up because I can listen to it, and I got an audio equipment here. At the end of the episode, when Jon stands up, squares off with Viserion, and screams.
Yeah.
When I watched the episode, I thought he was just kind of screaming in impotence because he does that, and then we see the spot where Arya kills the Night King.
Yeah.
Well, going back and listening to it and boosting the audio, he screams 3 times.
Not like a ha.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like a ha 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 type thing.
Yeah. And without trying to say what it is it was, I just tried to let a couple people listen to it, and a couple people all kind of told me they heard the same thing. And he's either saying go, 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 or no, no, no.
So it's either go, 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 as in the sense he sees Arya running to go take care of the Night
that's
King.
the question. Is he? Is he seeing Arya? Or was he yelling at somebody else in the courtyard? Was he yelling at the dragon to go?
And kill him?
Yeah, it's such a weird thing because it sounds distinctly like an O sound at the end of his screaming. So, I don't know, it's weird. Like, did he see her? Was there a plan? I look forward to this episode that's coming up because I want to know, like, did Jon already know what was going on? Did he see her? Was this part of their plan? Like, was the end plan, like, whoever can get to the Night King? Did it matter if it was Jon? Like,
yeah, exactly.
There's so many things. So it's interesting. And then the other thing that I want to bring up from the episode that I think, to me, I saw it one way and other people didn't, and I'm curious to see if you saw it this way, and if not, think about it.
Okay.
Is when the Night King turns around and sees Jon running at him.
Yes.
Right? He just kind of stops, he turns around, and does his raise the dead thing.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like he did that to get away from Jon.
I think he did.
Because Jon Snow's the one person he's ever seen kill a White Walker.
Exactly.
He has the one weapon he knows can kill a White Walker.
Yep.
So why wouldn't he be like, screw that? Get him.
Yeah, no. That's totally what he did. That's totally what he did.
I kind of say, a lot of people were like, oh, just why didn't Jon get to fight him? Because the Night Walker or the Night King ran. That's the way I kind of saw it. He didn't like run in fear. He just was like, screw that. I don't need to fight you.
Exactly.
I don't need to fight you. I know you're a threat.
Yes.
So I'm going to eliminate the threat and go.
Exactly, because like Bran says, he is the target because he has the brand on it from the Night King. So it's very obvious that he's like, I know you're a threat, and I know you can kill me, and we can stand right here and fight, but I would lose at some point.
Well, and that's also,
why not just raise the dead? You deal with them. I'm gonna go kill the Thread Raven.
And this also kind of feels like why the White Walkers weren't part of the battle is because he saw their strategy. They already killed the White Walker to kill the other undead.
Exactly.
And they straight up point at him when they're out there capturing that are white and like kill him and you kill them all.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he saw that.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, he's staring at him. He saw them point at him and been like, kill him, you kill everybody else. So he kind of knew their plan, and he probably has green sight, so he knew, like, okay, my guys have to stay back so we can just use all these dead guys and kill everybody.
Yeah, and
they have weapons that can hurt us. Why would you walk into a room where somebody's going to hurt you if you knew they were going to be there when you could go around the room?
Exactly. Exactly. He was being smart and strategic about it.
Exactly. So I don't know, interesting. But everybody, give us your thoughts. Let you know what you think about Game of Thrones this season. If you have any theories, anything crazy going on, we'd love to hear it.
You can always do that on our Facebook page, Twitter page, Instagram page. You know where we're at. It's Atomic Monsoon or Atomic_Monsoon on Instagram. Obviously our Gmail. Check out Redbubble. We are on YouTube, so check us out on YouTube. Subscribe, please.
Definitely do that. And if you have YouTube Premium, you can download our podcasts on there and listen to that way as well as voiceamerica.com, iTunes, everything like that you want to. Mm-hmm.
So I think we'll have to see what happens in these final 3 episodes. Obviously, a lot of death is going to happen, and someone will be sitting on that throne by the end of the last episode.
Maybe.
My
throne might be melted by the end of the last episode.
That's also possible.
Who knows?
It might be a new throne. Who knows?
Yeah, good grief. Who knows? I look forward to seeing whatever it is. All right, everybody, you have a wonderful weekend. And remember, winter's coming.
May the 4th be with you.